Welcome to this explainer. We are constantly on our devices, typing, clicking, scrolling, but I rarely stop to actually think about the incredible high-speed journey that data takes right beneath my fingertips. Today, we're going to slow down time. We're looking at exactly how human intentions translate into a language that a machine can actually understand. It's this brilliant story of math, logic, and engineering. Let's dive right in. Think about a completely everyday action. You press a key on your keyboard. Let's just say the letter A. It feels totally instant, right? You press it and boom, it's on your screen. But the exact millisecond your finger pushes that plastic key down, a massive translation process kicks off. See, the keyboard isn't a format we humans recognize, but the computer system inside, it doesn't understand the letter A at all. It literally only understands pure electrical signals. So to understand how we bridge this massive gap between our human alphabet and machine electricity, we've got to look at math. Albert Einstein actually put this perfectly. He said, "We owe a lot to the Indians, who taught us how to count, without which no worthwhile scientific discovery could have been made." That quote is a great reminder that the simple physical action of typing is completely built on the grand scientific discovery of numbering systems. We are essentially turning text into foundational math, just so a computer can process it. Section 1. The language barrier and cracking the code. Since we speak entirely different languages from our computers, how do we crack the code? How do we translate human text into machine data? Well, the answer is encoding. When you press that A key, it internally maps to a unique code, basically converting the data into an equivalent cipher. So a capital A doesn't enter the computer as an A. It maps to a decimal code value of 65. A cipher is really just something converted into a coded form. And the cool part? This mapping is the same for all standard keyboards, no matter who made them. Let's see how this evolved. Our digital dictionaries, these encoding standard schemes, had to grow up over time. Back in the early 1960s, computers literally couldn't communicate with each other because they used totally different ways to represent keys. To fix this, they created ASCII, a 7-bit code handling 128 printable English characters. But obviously, the world is way bigger than just English, so by the mid-1980s, India developed ISCII, an 8-bit code handling 256 characters to include Indian scripts. And today, we rely on Unicode. It's the universal standard that gives a unique number for every character of every written language on Earth. It basically guarantees that a text typed on one machine can be perfectly read by another. Let's walk through how this actually works. Take the word data, D-A-T-A. The standard encoding dictionary maps D to the decimal value 68, A to 65, T to 84, and A to 65 again. But here's the catch. A computer still can't read the number 68. So that decimal value gets translated even further into a 7-bit binary code of ones and zeros. That specific string of ones and zeros is what the computer actually processes to understand the word data. Section 2. The 4-number systems. Okay, having an encoding dictionary is only half the battle. Now we have to translate those codes into the actual dialects of mathematics. You and I exist in a base 10 world. The decimal system is what we use every single day, relying on 10 and digits from 0 through 9. But the machines we build operate in totally different mathematical dialects. They rely on positional number systems, like binary, which is base 2, octal, which is base 8, and hexadecimal, base 16. In these systems, the value of each symbol depends completely on its position. So while we count in tens, computers calculate in highly organized positions of 2s, 8s, and 16s. And here is exactly why they do this. The binary foundation isn't just some abstract math concept. It represents the actual physical reality inside your device. Your computer runs on integrated circuits, which are packed with billions of microscopic transistors. And these transistors, they're activated by electronic signals and can only be in one of two states: a high signal, meaning on, or a low signal, meaning off. The on state is represented by a 1, the off state is represented by a 0. That's the whole shebang, base 2. Binary is literally just the physical presence or absence of electrical voltage. Section 3, translating the math. So how exactly do we get from our everyday decimal base 10 numbers down into those physical binary base 2 switches? We have to pass through a translation engine. And the math rules here are actually just a simple logical recipe. To convert a decimal number into binary, you just follow 4 steps. Step 1, divide your decimal number by the base value, which is 2 for binary. Step 2, note the remainder. Step 3, take the quotient from that division and keep dividing it by 2, noting the remainder each time until your quotient reaches 0.
And finally, step 4, just write all those remainders down in reverse order, from bottom to top.
Let's bring this full circle. Remember our keystroke A? We learned its decimal code is 65. If we take 65 and divide it by 2, the quotient is 32, with a remainder of 1. Then we divide 32 by 2, getting 16 with a remainder of 0. If you keep doing this over and over until the quotient hits 0, and then read those remainders from bottom to top, you get exactly this, 1000001. Boom! Our human keystroke is officially translated into the machine's electrical language.
Section 4, Real-World Applications.
Now, you might be wondering, if computers run purely on binary ones and zeros, why on earth do we need base 8 and base 16 number systems? Let's pivot and look at why this actually matters in the real world. The big problem here is scale. As decimal values get larger, the binary strings of ones and zeros get massive. They become completely unmanageable for human programmers. Hexadecimal, or base 16, solves this by acting as a highly efficient shorthand. It uses the digits 0 through 9 and then the letters A through F to represent values 10 through 15. So instead of a programmer trying to track a 16-bit memory address that looks like an endless, mind-numbing string of ones and zeros, they can use a compact hexadecimal notation like C0F1. It is a massive space saver.
You see this constantly in web design when you're dealing with colors. Every color on your screen is a mix of red, green, and blue, RGB. To choose from a palette of 16 million colors, we need 24 binary bits. Look at how the color white is represented. In binary, white is 24 number ones in a row. There is no way anyone is memorizing or typing that efficiently. But when translated into compact hexadecimal notation, those 24 digits beautifully compress into just FF, FF, FF. Black is just 000000. It's this brilliant system of mathematical compression that keeps computing manageable for the humans actually building the software.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought. Every single time you send a text, write an email, or search the web, think about the journey. A letter on a key is matched to a universal decimal code, converted through mathematical division into an exact sequence of physical voltage states, and managed through incredibly compact hexadecimal shorthand. If every single character in every single language across every device on Earth requires this unique cipher just to become pure electrical voltage, just how vast is the microscopic, high-speed universe running silently beneath your fingertips right now? Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.